Toiv le'hoidais Hashem, Toiv le'hoidais Hashem, Ulezamer l'shimcha elyoim. Toiv le'hoidais Hashem, Toiv le'hoidais Hashem, Ulezamer l'shimcha elyoim. Ule'agid b'boiker, b'boiker chazdech, v'yemunas v'ba'alei.
first l'chaim tovim l'shamam, l'chaim shakoyach, l'chaim tovim l'shamam. Evani b'chazdecho v'ata I'm going to briefly just share a lot of. I realized that most of the chevra I didn't really get a chance to speak to. So just for the few that I spoke to, they know this already. We're having a Suda to give Shevach and thanks to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for being here, for being in this world, for having another moment, another day, another morning of davening, of learning, of just being alive here in Eretz HaKodesh. So, B'kitzur, Monday we were fasting. Right after we broke the fast, I ate for a little bit, and then I had to drive out to the Merkaz, to Kfar Chabad, because it was Rav Ginsburg's 79th birthday. And he asked that I come and participate in for bringing that he was doing in honor of his birthday. Big COVID. So drove out there, and then if you know where Kfar Chabad is, it's kind of like if you're driving towards the airport and then Lod and passing by Rehovot, it's kind of that area. And then at about 8:02, there was a big matach. How do you say matach? There was a bombardment of rockets to the Merkaz. And I heard I heard the sirens. I couldn't tell if it was sirens that I'm hearing from far away or not, but I didn't take any chances. And what I was told is that you're supposed to get out of the car and then either find shelter or go on the ground. Where I was on the highway was basically in the middle of the highway and like an open field behind me. So there wasn't really anywhere to go. And I stopped the car, got out of the car, and then I went on the floor, and then I felt and I heard the biggest boom I've ever felt in my life, ever. I still hear it and I still feel it. Basically, when the rockets, when they could project, if it's going into an open field, they don't shoot the Iron Dome. I think it's like $1.5 million shekel each time they shoot one of those things. So if they see that it's going to an open field, they don't shoot it. So that open field where it came down was literally like, I don't know, like a few hundred meters behind me. Like it came down right behind me. And when the boom came down, it was the loudest thing I've ever heard. And I flew from the hedef, from the impact, it flew me forward. And it was such a shock. But then, and I didn't turn around to look up because I was nervous that if it was fire, things flying out of there would go into my eyes. And like subconsciously, I'm realizing now that that's why I didn't look up and didn't look into it. But when then I looked up to, like in front to see what's going on. Then I saw another rocket, and then I saw the interception right above me of the second one, which was also, if you've ever been in one of those are very loud, but it was nothing in comparison to what was behind me. So, you go into this place of, you're not thinking too much, you're not shocked. All I thought, maybe this wasn't the smartest thing to do, because they say to wait for 10 minutes, but if I felt like they were coming, it was happening more and more there, I somehow I ran back, I got up, I ran into the car and drove faster than I ever did for another like 2-3 minutes till I went into Kfar Chabad, which logically it doesn't mean anything, because what's the difference between, it's not like there was someone on the run there. It was from Shammai, right? It was from not from Shammai, it was from Gehenna, but from the sky. So there's a million thoughts and feelings that bichlal aren't processed, and one of the feelings I wanted to definitely do is to not speak about it, because it's not mainly because the reason why I didn't want to speak about it is because this is exactly how so many of our families and brothers and sisters have been living their home mitzias down south for years and years and years. This was just one example of it. This was just one moment of it. But there is an Indian to always, always, always be makir tov HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and to mefaisim it, and to even celebrate it. I was reminded of, I was in the States, but the night after that, behind Toby's house, when our Gibor Shraga Stern, Hashem Yishmereu, is down now fighting in Gaza, was the Chayal that was took over and was injured by the Mechabel here. That the beautiful, I remember watching it on Facebook Live, watching the beautiful Seudah that took place behind over there that night. So there's an Indian to really, there's a lot of Indianim to be makir tov, to give thanks, to put out to the world, and to Kadosh Baruch Hu, that the way we don't take any second for granted, and we makabel on ourselves that every moment that we have together is an opportunity to bring more light and to do more good, to learn what we feel needs to be learned. And personally, for me, it's, and I was speaking about this with Yossi yesterday, that the personal feeling here is like so surreal. It's almost like when I got my senses together, when I started thinking clearly, I was like, wow, a Yishmaeli Yemach Shemo put a rocket in a shigur, huh?
A rocket launcher.
In a launcher. This guy, this animal, a few hours from here, put it in, and it missed me. But it's not missed me. It missed you. It missed. That's the thing. Even though it's personal, because it's like, oh my God, it's right next to me. This is crazy. You get flown by the head. I'm a big guy. I got flown by it. From the sound, everything, it's all blurry, and I'm not admitting that I understand any of it, and I'm sure it'll be. I'm from LA. There's always aftershocks, from the earthquakes, But being together and speaking about it, I also wanted to say that people that go through these kind of things, one of the hardest things is to share, is to speak, and is to reach out. And that's also a limud that I feel like if Hashem put me in the place that I'm in, that's also an important thing that I wanted to share with everyone here. Maybe not everyone in here has experienced it so close, but there's no doubt in my mind that each person in here has experienced some type of a trauma in the last 5 weeks. And the Chabura is meant not just for learning the deepest depths and sharing the deepest depths. The Chabura is also meant for sharing Rikshe Halev, what's inevitable, the things that are really touching upon touching upon places in us that we never really did. So I just want to thank everyone for being here, and also we have also today's the Ornstein family's this is Leilui Nishmas Rabbi Socher Mendel ben Tzvi Alter ben Achaela, who also their grandson David Yeshua also experienced a close interaction with this a few weeks ago. It's at the Minarot, right by the Machzon. Should be a shmira on all of us. Rav Weinberger said to me last night, shmira maliyusa. It's like a different type of shmira. Shmira maliyusa, a higher level of protection. Aleinu, al kol am Yisrael, al kol ha'achim v'achayot shelanu. B'yomar letzarotenu, die, Ribono Shleim, you're stuck with us. Look at us, we're such am kshei oref, We're such am kshei oref. Even if chas v'shalom, you had one thought for a second of wanting to get rid of us, it's en ma lasot, you're stuck with us forever. May it be a beautiful binding together, a beautiful being stuck together. And Hashem should wipe away all the evil from the face of this earth. L'chaim, toiv, l'sham, l'chaim. We're going weiter just a little bit today, not too much. Today we're going to be a very important piece. Kuf Kaf Vav. Many people have been wondering, can you label this milchama, can you put it under the category of Amalek? It's been a talk, it's been a very big talk. People are really, Chayal called me from the front line, asking me, he wanted a heter to know if he could go and engage in the war as if he's going and engaging Amalek. I said, my nafkamina. So it's a clear nafkamina. It's actually one of the clearest nafkaminas in the world. So we're going to learn it instead of like speaking about what we feel, which is not a good thing when the feelings are erupting. We have Torah, we have to look inside, we have to learn to see, does this fall into the category of Amalek or not? Even though we already mentioned Rav Soloveitchik's Pshat on Amalek, Amalek is anyone that's coming and trying to kill Jews, right? But there's still an afkamina there, because regarding the tzivui of Amalek, it's a wiping out completely of an entity. It's not we spare them and we spare that. Look what happened with Shaul HaMelech. Look what happened with Shaul HaMelech. So it's not so clear. Did the pages get to the end? Do we have enough?
I thought there was
not so much?
I thought if the Shiva Tzion there was a bitul of Amalek.
Yeah, many people did. Many people did. If anyone else needs, please raise your hand.
No, I meant the level of halakha.
Oh, bוא נראה בפנים. Let's see.
Did the Kohanim, were they engaged in the Milchama with Amalek?
Yeah, it's another shaila that came up. Can a Kohen, the questions about Kohanim and the war, Kohen that has to go to war, he goes to war. There's no shaylas.
War, is that one of the practical ramifications here? Like if it's Amalek, everybody is out there.
Everybody's a milchemes mitzvah. Yes, it's not on a certain people. It's everyone. The shaylas that came up with Kohanim, I think we spoke about already. Can a Kohen voluntarily go and volunteer for Zaka or for the Rabbanut Tzva'it of Zihui Chalalim? So only if there's no one, if there aren't enough people, then he has a chiyuv too. But if there are enough people, you can't go and be nadev for that. For that. That came up also. A shayla came up. Can a Kohen go and be nadev in Mada? Interesting shayla, right? Or bichlal, should a Kohen be a doctor in an emergency room? These are great stuff. There's a lot of tshuvas written on these things. It's really, it's Torah's chaim. It's beautiful, and it's still being developed. These shaylas. In Kuf Chaf Vav, he says like this. We're in the middle of the page. And I think a lot of us are also looking for lemaisa with all this learning about what we're learning about. We're looking for a lemaase. So what's the practicality? What do I practically do with all this type of learning? What could I do as an individual? If I'm not a legislator, then as an individual, what do I do? And we already spoke about that when it's a maisa yachidi, that you go out and you nokem, that's absolutely asur. The way we learned it on an individual level, going out and like that horrible story of there was this, after the 3 boys were killed, there was a guy, a shtickle deranged, that went and killed this Arab kid. I forgot his name. Aldir, I think his name was, the kid was Muhammad Aldir. That has nothing to do with what we're learning, and it's an ivut. That's lichlal, not what we're speaking about. So he says like this: HaKadosh Baruch Hu eino rakel nekamot, just like we just mentioned in Shir Shel Yom. God is not only a God of vengeance, el kano v'nokem, vengeance and of vengeance. It's not just that. It's that he says, Gam ha'geula shlema tavo mitoch zeh sheHaKadosh Baruch Hu yakum beza'amo linkom et nikmat chilul shmo ve'edam avadav ha'shafuch. When we speak about geula, some of us are under the impression it's going to be this thing of like, kulam ahuvin. It's like, it's all good, it's all beautiful, there's a light that gets turned on, and then just everyone's swimming together and dancing, all you need is love. Right? Mamash. Like that's, we have this impression, Geula Shlema just happens like that. He's like, part of the process of Geula is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will come in his rage to avenge the Nekama's Chilul Shmo ve'ezdam avadav ha'shafuch. There'll be a vengeance from Hashem over all those that were killed in sanctifying his name. That's part of Geula Shlema. Right? כך אומר ילקוט שמעוני, אוי למלכוס רביס שהקדוש ברוך הוא נוקם בעצמו ממנה. He's like, woof. Regarding the 4th kingdom, which is what we're waiting for, HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself is going to come and avenge what needs to be avenged. And this is not only from there, כך ביקש דוד המלך עליו השלום את תהילים. תהילים עין תת, פסוק י"ב. והשב לשכנינו שבעתיים אל חיקם חרפתם, Asher cherfucha Hashem. David Amalek asks, when you get back to what you get back to, 7-fold. You bring it back over Shiva times, 7-fold. Behine Yirmiyahu Hanavi lo amar keDavid Shiva time. That's not what Yirmiyahu Hanavi said. Ela amar tashiv lehem gmul Hashem k'maaseh yedehem. Question, machlokas. David Amalek and Yirmiyahu Hanavi. David HaMelech says, Ribbon Shalom, when you do come and avenge all the blood that's been spilled in your name, do it like 7 times over. Yirmiyahu Navi says, just do it, ki'ilu he's saying one to one, right? So, Psikta Rabasi. So they discussed this. Rabbi Yehuda v'Rebbe Nechemia. Rabbi Yehuda Amar, Amru Yisrael, Ribbon Olamim, ma she'asu lanu, tashiv lem k'maaseh yedehem. U'ma she'asu b'mikdashcha, Hashem lishchenenu shivasayim el cheikam. The way Rabbi Yehuda says it is that we're saying, Master of the world, what they did to us, the personal thing, then go back and give it to them 1-1-1. But what they did in your Beis Hamikdash, the Chilul Shem Shamayim of Churban Abayit, Hashem lishchenenu shivasayim el cheikam, 7-fold, 7 over. Rabbi Nechemia Amar, Ma she'asu banu tashiv lehem gmul Hashem k'maaseh yedehem. What they did to us, 1-on-1, do back to them. But by them burning your Torah, bring it back to them 7 over. Now, what's the difference? What do you think the difference is over here? We keep on speaking about the real concept of Nekama can only really be purely about what? Chilul Hashem. But in Hashem's cheshbon, what's considered a Chilul Hashem?
The question is, I think, is a neshama in Hashem's eyes a Sefer Torah, like what he's the lashon he's using.
Mashu kazeh. I want to stick to how we're bringing it over. What in Hashem's eyes is considered what we consider a Chilul Hashem? Hashem comes back and says, okay, Chilul Hashem doesn't just mean that they come and they desecrated my name. Chilulam Yisrael. Where do we learn that from?
Moshe.
By which nation? By Midian. Exactly. Bevadai. Gam b'ma she'asu hagoyim liYisrael yesh chilul Hashem. Of course, that what the nations have done to Am Yisrael as well is chilul Hashem. Kvi shenireh b'arichot. U'biglal zeh megia alem onesh. And of course, they deserve a punishment for such a thing. Ach, ka'asher bagalui u'beperush hem medabrim neged Hashem. But when they clearly speak against God, umecharfim umegatfim oto, al zeh ba onesh shivatayim. That's where you come back 7-fold of a punishment. כי הנה לפנינו חילול השם גלוי מחוצף, במצח נחושה, Zoi milchama gluya b'Hashem. What's an open, revealed fight against God? Then when it's in the name of going against Hashem. Okay? Now that was Amalek. Openly against God. The Jewish people were pawns in the war against Hashem. Correct? And we're going to see that clearly in a second too. That's basically how we always learn it. So we have to use our lamdas head for a little bit this morning. Now let's go shlav by shlav. What would you define today's war? Don't say al pi regesh, al pi seichen. Why?
Lishma. It seems like it's totally lishma on their part.
Is it a war against God?
Yes.
Fundamentally, yes.
Yeah.
Totally. And they're
Is anyone bold enough to say if they feel that it's not?
If you'd ask the Hamas.
I'm asking you. I'm not asking anybody else. I'm not asking the world any.
If I can say it, Allah Akbar. If they go around, Mahadid Yidden, if they go around killing Jews, desecrating us, Allah Akbar, God is great, then there's a perversion there,
Right.
which is similar to the perversion that you've got with Amalek.
So it could be there's a mahalach that this war is even more Amalek than Amalek. Why? Because when Amalek, listen, like Rav Shlomo would say, evil that comes to you and looks like evil, it's not so hard to decipher that it's evil, right? But evil that comes to you and it dresses up in levushim of shtraimelach, lahavdil, that's the most dangerous one. That's the most dangerous one. So an evil that comes and is dafka using the lishma in the most perverted way is absolutely falls under the category of doing this. This is a war against God. God, they're into hijacking. Yimach shemam. They're into hijacking. They're into hijacking people. They're into hijacking concepts. They're into hijacking God. The concept of God has been by billions of people hijacked. If this isn't what Amalek does in such a more extreme way, I don't know what is, because what does Amalek do? Kiyad al keis ka, we're going to see. Amalek covers the name of God. He covers it. There's an inyan of, they're coming out and they're mechasa, they're covering over it. Now look how he continues. Zeh asot shel inyan Amalek. Madua chara apo shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu be'uma zo yoseh mebeshar umas. Why is it that God's anger, His wrath, was on this nation more than any other nation? Ki shar ha'umos hayotzos lemilchama neged Yisrael mechalalos es Hashem ba'akifin. The other nations that go out into war against Am Yisrael, they mechalal Hashem. You know what ba'akifin means? Like roundabout way. Thank you. Shebazeh shehen lochmot ba'am Hashem. But the fact that they're fighting the Am Hashem, igloi milsa she'inam nirta'im HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Do you know what it means when you choose to fight the Jewish people? What does it mean besides that you hate Jews? What does it really mean? It means you're not scared. This is a word, another word that Am Yisrael has to do a big tikkun for. Harta'a. You've heard that word? Harta'a. Lehartia. How do you say harta'a? Deterrence. Deterrence. Not hatra'a. That means harta'a. The way what he just said, nirta'a. Nirta'im HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's meaning he's saying, like, when you fight Am Yisrael, you're basically saying, I don't have any deterrence before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the word that I said is being perverted because, for a long time, people sitting in top, places of legislation and in the cabinet have always spoken about HaHamas Murta. Murta means the Hamas is, they're deterred.
Subdued.
This was only a few months ago that there was talk like this. There was a minister in the government that said the Hamas is Murta for 15 years. He said this about 2 weeks before Simchas Torah. Mamish. 2 weeks before Simchas Torah. Murta, harta'a. Iglai milsa she'inam nirta'im HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Your fight Yidden, what you're showing is that you really have no fear from God. It doesn't play any role in you. Ve'achen zeu chil Hashem shelo yichupar. It's a desecration of God's name that can't have any kapara. Ach eino domeh lichilu shebo yotzim goyim ba'achraza gluya, kegon Goliat neged HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And as bad as that is, He's saying that doesn't compare when you come out with a clear hachrazah, clear proclamation, I'm going against God. Like he brings over here the Goliath. This is what Amalek was really all about. Shal zen ne'emar, ki yad al keska, milchama la'Hashem ba'Amalek, midor dor. Why is the war of Hashem and Amalek forever? Because what these people resemble is an open proclamation that we have a target. The target is God. So if in this world we can't really, God is not a physical entity, we go and target those that represent God's life and light in this world. Who's that? Yidden, Am Yisrael. Shal ze amru Chazal b'shalach masechta d'Amalek parsha beis. Rebbe Eliezer Amodai Omer nishba Kadosh Baruch Hu b'kisei hakavod shelo. This is brought down in the Mechilta. God swore by his throne of glory. Imaniach nin v'nechet shel Amalek tachas kol hashamayim. Shelo yiyu omrim gam al zeh shel Amalek rechel zeh shel Amalek. I swear that there will not be even left any descendant of Amalek in this world that anyone can ever say this donkey, this camel belongs to Amalek. V'chem psikta b'rabasi ki yad al keska. Bottom line, Amar Rab Levi b'shem Reb Chama Rabbi Chanina. Kivyachol kol zman shezara shel Amalek ba'olam lo Hashem shalem v'lo hakisei shalem. Nekar zaro shel Amalek hakisei shalem v'Hashem shalem. As long as this offspring, this mishtach is in the world, then Hashem Yisbarach's name and his kisei are not complete. And there's a lot of drushes on that, what that means exactly. Amar David, ha'oyev tamu charavos lanetzach ve'arim natashta avad zichram heima, maksiv achrav, ve'Hashem le'olam yeshev, konen le'mishpat kisa. When the job is done, then Hashem sits on his throne properly. Zatomeret like this. You and I are living in a world that we have to work really, really hard, even when we're not in a state like this, to truly feel that hakisei shalem ve'Hashem shalem. What does that mean, that God is sitting fully on his throne? And what does it mean that God's name is complete in the world? What does that mean? What does it mean that Shem Hashem is complete in the world? What do you think that means? What would be different? What kind of reality would be different? Hashem's name is complete in this world. So let's look at Hashem's name for a second. What's Hashem's name? Yud, and then Hey, and then Vav, and then Hey. And without getting too, Mechila, David, I'm not going fully, I'm just trying to do something a little bit like this. What is the only thing in the world that you and have right now at this second? This second. That's all we have. We have the Hoveh. We have the present. That's all you and I have right now. I'm learning with Bini a mimer from Rav Kluger about his Borus, and the whole Indian there is that a person has to do an immense amount of tshuva over ignoring the only thing that he actually has and always thinking about what he doesn't have. People usually think that means money or taivas nashim, whatever it is. The truth is, what we usually are focused on is everything but the one thing we have, which is now. Okay? In Hashem's name, there's only one tense, not past or future. It's only present, Hoveh. The Yud is bringing Hashem into the picture of now. Amalek comes and it says, Ki yad al kes ka. There's something covering over the name of God. Which two letters aren't in that pasuk? Vav and the Hey. Now I'll go a little bit alter Rebbe. The Vav and the Hey in this world is actually what brings down the connection that I feel to the existence of God and his hanhaga in this world. Zotomeret. As long as this entity exists in the world, I really can't experience the Ribono Shleim the way the Ribono Shleim wants me to experience him in this world. And when we in the name of a perverted concept of compassion, it brings us further away from enabling a world of of Hashem Shalem v'Kis'o Shalem. Now, it's nothing to do from what happened 2 nights ago. It's been the whole mahalach of the last 5 weeks. if we were to say that this is a milchama and Amalek, okay? If we were to paskin, this is a milchama and Amalek. But yesh al mi lismoch sheken. No, I'm not saying everyone agrees with it. Yesh al mi lismoch sheken. Then, in terms of the kol koreh from the Am, meaning the voice emanating from the Am, and the levels of tshuva that we have to do, aside from the clear one that we always have to be working on, listening to each other, getting closer to each other, really hearing each other, not only in this room, but dafka Jews that sound nothing like many of us and don't look like anything like us, to go and listen to them, just like the Chayalim are, Baruch Hashem, showing us and leading us by example of hearing each other, listening to each other, and the things that aren't important are being put aside, and what is important is staying in the front. And we have everything in the world to learn from them. What else is the avoda that is the hardest thing, like we're talking about waking up from a coma, what is it to do in terms of this war? Could it be, I'm just throwing out the idea, because this is important stuff for us to wake up from. When you see images of people who were celebrating and giving out candies when our brothers and sisters were killed and raped and slaughtered, that are now not being killed and being led to Gaza and being served water by Chayalei Tzva Haganah Yisrael, and it makes you feel proud, there's something messed up about that. Deep, deep inside us, there's something something's messed up. Again, according to the Shita, that these people are Amalek. I'm certain, without a shadow of a doubt, Rov Rubo of anyone that's walking out like this right now, these are people that cheered when rockets went to try to kill you and me and put terror and fear in my children and in your children. No Shaila. No Shaila. The few you catch on camera now that are saying, look what Hamas has done to us, is the חלק מכל הטירוף שלנו. The fact that we haven't even declared yet that we are reconquering the whole area, reestablishing Jewish settlement there, in a place where such a rishut has taken over, still shows that we still have a very long mahalach, but I believe that awareness and consciousness is dependent on what I said before. I believe the more that we can hear each other, love each other, and talk to each other within Am Yisrael, we won't have a problem doing all these necessary things that need to be done. We won't have a problem. It'll almost be like, because if we just really focus on the hoveh, on the moment, all the other stuff that we're so worried about, they'll fall down in front of our eyes. All the cheshbonos, all the sichons, right? All the sichon melech cheshbon stuff will fall before our eyes. Obviously, there's so much more to share on this topic. And this kind of learning is bringing up very, very, emotional things. But we're trying to always bring ourselves to say, but what did Chazal say? What did David HaMelech say? What do the Midrashim say? Like we were speaking about in Shir the other day. Which Midrashim and which Parshas did I kind of like turn a blind eye to? Which stories in the Torah have I consciously chosen to be like, I can't really think about that. Do you understand how many people Shaul HaMelech killed? How many people do you think Shaul HaMelech killed?
Tens of thousands.
If not more, right? Tens of thousands of people. And yet, he had chemla on one. He had compassion on one. And what happens when you have compassion on one? That's part of a bigger picture. What do you lose? Huh? There's a word. What did he lose? Malchus. Malchus. He lost the malchut. He lost not just aspect of malchut like we like to connect to today. He actually lost malchus, right? We have to be aware and understand, wait a second, how am I looking at this milchama? How am I looking at this? איך אני מסתכל על זה? You know that yesterday, it's crazy. There's a request from someone from the left wing party and a right wing party to use other countries to take in the Ishmaelim that are leaving Gaza into their countries. Sounds a little familiar. It's just a different person saying it. It's crazy. They basically called for transfer, straight out. They said they just didn't use that word because they want to keep their seat in the Knesset. But that's exactly what they said. And there's more and more people that are realizing, yesh po inyan, but that's chetzi ma'inyan. That's chetzi ma'inyan. Our love for each other and listening to each other goes yad beyad with the ability to do what's needed to be done to wiping out the enemies of Hashem in this world.
How does this all work with the descendants of Ham when they're studying Torah and Hebrew?
I don't know. Amalek, one more paragraph. Amalek bא להשמיד את ישראל, כמו שאמרו חז"ל, למה נקרא שמו Amalek? Am Lak, a nation of Lak. You know what ללקק means? שבא ללוק דמן של ישראל ככלב. This is a very heavy midrash. They come to like a dog comes. That's what they come to do to the blood of Am Yisrael. Hu barishon, he came first. ובכך סלל את הדרך לכל שאר האומות. כמו שאמרו חז"ל, אשר קרחה בדרך. What does it mean? They came and cooled you off on the way. רבנן אמרי קרחה, הקרחה לפני אחרים. They cooled you off before other people. Okay, so what does this mean? We'll learn the midrash and we'll see it happening today. אמר רבי חוניה, מה שלמה הדבר דומה? לאמבטי רותחת שלא הייתה בריאה יכולה לרד בתוכה. This is a parable to a fuming, burning, steaming hot bathtub that no person can go into without getting burned. בא בן בליעל אחד וקפץ לתוכה. One ימח שמו comes inside and he jumps inside. ואף על פי שנכווה, and even though he got burned a little bit, what did he end up doing to the water? Hekira lifnei achirim. He cooled it off before other people. Afkan, kevan sheyatzu Yisrael mitzrayim. We came out of Egypt. We came out of such low dirt and filth. We come out of Mitzrayim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu kara hayam lifneihem. Miracles upon miracles. V'nishtaku hamitzrim letocho. And the Egyptians sunk into the world that they lived in. What ended up happening, momentarily, nafal pachdan al kol ha'umot. There was kavod shamayim in the world, and there was fear on other nations. Shene'emar, az nivhalu alufei edom. Now we have your daily moment of Musar, where you say this every single morning. What does it mean? Az nivhalu alufei edom. Then, all the alufim, the generals of Edom, of the nations of the world, nivhalu, got freaked out when they saw Yad Hashem so clearly with what he did with Am Yisrael Mitzrayim. Kevan sheba Amalek ben izdavek lahem, af al pi shenatal et shelo mitachat yadan, hikiran lifnei umot haolam. What did Amalek cause? He caused that this moment of Az nivhalu alufei Edom was like kechalom yauf, like it passed in a second. Yafeh. Let's go into us. We'll end with this. What happens to us? Am Yisrael goes through the gas chambers. Am Yisrael goes through Auschwitz, goes through pogrom after pogrom after pogrom. And then this crazy mitzias of Vishavu Banim Gvulam starts to happen. Start coming back to Eretz Yisrael. And it seems like, oh my God, after such a, like, Tumas Mitzrayim, maybe even worse, we come back to Eretz Yisrael, and there's a Besora. There's a place for Yidden to be in the world. And basically, who comes right away? Who comes right away and tries to lekarer this Besora? Yishmael. Now the reason, Kabbalistically speaking, why this klipa is so much harder to cut off, and we have such a harder part, an inyan with them, is based on a very simple notion that they have a bris milah. And because they have a bris milah, it makes it much harder for us to fully wipe this entity out of our lives, because Kedushas HaBris is the last struggle before Mashiach. And in our worlds, and especially in the more modern world that Kimat everyone here grew up in, these are things that weren't spoken to us about. We didn't deal with these things. I think the first time someone really started learning about Kedushat HaBrit and paid attention to it and noticed it was something that happened at a later stage in life, when our minds were already completely infiltrated with a whole culture that was nice and sweet and also filled with tumah. Go back and watch a movie that your parents let you watch in the 80s. Just try it. Or a TV show.
That with Mikey.
Yeah.
Doesn't work.
I tried with my kids many times. I have to shut things off.
Looking at Mikey, watching
I don't
Austin
remember
Powers.
this scene.
And after 10 minutes, I'm like, you actually used to think this is funny? I had to shut it off, and Mikey was traumatized.
That's 90s. Go to 80s.
Go to 70s, yeah, go to 60s. What I'm trying to say is like this, for us to understand, why have we had so much trouble with this? Why isn't it so clear that they came and they did what Amalek did to us? Asher karcha baderech. You're on your way from rising, from being the lowest of the world, to becoming an Am HaNetzach, and we have so much trouble with these people. I'm not saying that they have Kedusha Sabris. They have bris milah. They have a brit. They do a brit milah. In the Kabbalistic energies, this is what we're speaking about. Zeh keneged zeh. If that's giving them any koach in the world to have any ability to harm, our weapon against it is in our circles a huge hagbara in the world of tznius and shmiras sabris, without a doubt. Without a doubt. That's one element. It doesn't mean that you should wait to wipe them out until you get your shmiras sabris ready. Understand? It's just explaining to us the inner struggle. There's a war here that's gone on for so long. It has so many different elements, and it's playing with us in such an insane way, such a sensitive way, such a personal way. So, again, we're not paskening right now because I don't think we've gone through the whole sugya yet. But definitely, yesh al mi lismoch, to hold that this definitely falls into that category, without a doubt. Yesh al mi lismoch. We didn't get to our. Again, the Regesh wants to tell us so easily. For sure they are, because then what would be the problem? Nothing. Then, well, there's one problem in today's reality of treating them like Amalek, because they're holding on to 240 Yidden, or 200 Yidden and 40. It doesn't matter how many people are there right now. We have these brothers and sisters that are screaming out to us to pull them out of the Gehenom. But if they weren't there, and you say that this is clearly Amalek, these are people that give out candies when Yidden get killed. These are old people that go on bicycles, drive into kibbutzim while our sisters were being burnt to crisps so that they could loot.
6 and 10-year-old boys.
6, 10-year-old boys. You have to understand, there's a person that she was just only identified 2 days ago. Vivian Lewis. You saw this? Vivian Lewis had a very, very, very good heart. It was in a very, very wrong place, but it was a very good heart that was really felt that what she was doing was mamish l'shem shamayim. She did. She was the most active amongst all the chevra to make shalom between Israelis and the Ishmaelim down there. You know why it took 5 weeks to identify her body? Do I have to explain why? Yesh milchama. The chayalim are doing it. The chayalim, the ruach, is so crystal clear. They're in achdut. The chayalim are in achdut. The chayalim are very focused, and they should continue to have shmira ma'al yusa over them.
Amen.
And you know how we owe it to them to have Shmira Maliusa on us? Is that we're bold enough to choose to wake up from certain comas that we're not even under the impression that we're still have been stuck in for only one reason. Leman Shmo Be'ava. This is not a personal thing. Well, it's personal because it's God. So I guess on that level it's a personal thing. But it's Leman Shmo Be'ava, to keep on learning, to looking at this picture clearer, to see how much does it burn you in your heart that there's such a chilul kvod shamayim in the world. You know, one of my friends, he heard what happened the other night, and his response was, he got angry. He said, is that a way a Jew is supposed to drive the streets of Eretz Yisrael? Like, that was he's like, stop for a second. Is that the way a Jew was meant to drive the streets of Eretz Yisrael? And when you take that question up to Shamayim, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu come, and then you say, how could it be that a Jew has to drive like this, the streets of Eretz Yisrael? And we all know the answer. Hashem says, yeah, I know.
Exactly.
This is not a huh?
Can I guess he doesn't live there?
We're only Melamed Zchus to the Indian. Hashem's answer back is so clear. It's like, I don't even know why you're asking me that question. I don't know how you guys got to a place that you enabled this to be your reality in the first place. Shigaon. Pashut Shigaon. You chose to avoid certain parshias in the Torah. You chose to avoid certain texts that are not confusing. They're very clear. You chose to look at Shimon and Levi and say, this is what I want to learn out of it, and this is what I don't want to learn out of it. You chose to talk about all the Gedolim, but when it came to Pinchas, all the Rabbeim told you, don't learn Mea Shilach, don't learn the Pnimius of the story of Pinchas, because we don't know how to deal with that in this world. Shimshon. How much of a big deal do we make of Shimshon? Iganu lematzav, we're nearing a place that the avoda now has to be on us so much more intensely, because to be able to do this work, kmo shetzarich, v'tahel libeinu le'ovdecha be'emet, may it only come from one place. May the ratzon to wake up only come from one place and one place only. Leman shimcha hagadol hagibor v'anora. Only that. And we need shmira maliyusa, we need extra protective energy to be able to look straight into the eye of even the things that hurt me the most. And the things that hurt me the most are usually the things that I made for me as a pesel matzeva in my life. Meaning that I already set up as a statue, as a monument. Like, this is how it is. That's how those people are. This is how those people are. If you don't understand the Israeli leftist that's trying so hard to make peace and a two-state solution, because you have to understand that place is coming from a real ratzon to not have war. We have to realize that. It's coming from a very sincere desire of living here much longer than any of us, and that just can't take it anymore. And to them, that's really what it seems like. Once I start the conversation from there, like mamash for real, then I can make a choice and second, okay, I know that's where it's coming from, but I have a Torah that guides me that's much deeper than any human emotion that comes up, that's ever come up since Shilat Ma'aseh Bereshis. I know that last statement I said right now is uncomfortable for a lot of people. But when I say waking up from the coma, it's from both sides. It's to be able to understand the heart of the kibbutznik that lived down there in Kerem Shalom, who's now, I wish they were 6 feet under their ashes. Where it came from was a sincere desire, not Torah-based, but a sincere desire to live in peace. It's our job to mechanech the door of today, what the Torah's vision of peace is, and not what the world's vision of peace is. According to the world, we have a prosperous peace with Egypt and Jordan. That word has been hijacked as well. Peace.
100%.
Peace. Peace is so much deeper. Peace is the name of Hashem. And kli machzik bracha el shalom. In order for all the brachas Hashem wants to give us, we have to make that bracha of shalom between us. Once that happens, akol gamu, it's all over. we should be Simcha. It should be in our time, with our days, in our days. B'imher b'yaminu kvar achshav. Amen.